Hello and welcome to another episode on the Gagan Press, the YouTube channel where we talk about everything football. Yes, we started with talking about the football boot collection, me reviewing football boots, talking about the differences between one model to the other, and then sometimes I tend to move to topics about football. We talked about trend before, and probably we're going to talk more about the transfer as we go along, since it's the post-season and pre-season. But today we are going to touch on an interesting topic, which I feel would resonate a lot with, I wouldn't call it aging footballers, but seasoned footballers. All of us are footballers at heart. We might not play the professional level, but we love kicking ball. And myself, I grew up kicking the football with my mates since I was 7, 8, 9, 10, playing in the local field. I've been doing it all the way until my early 20s. And then probably a final weekend, it just stopped abruptly. Everyone led their lives. Work came into play, girlfriends, partners, other commitments, kids, family. So meeting with your mates over football is almost impossible. So what do you do to get back to kicking football? In a more, you know, in a manner where you play football with other people, right? So social football in the past couple years has been gaining traction in the major cities. I think it's all around the world. But specifically today, I'm going to talk about social football in Malaysia in general and Kuala Lumpur area, the Klang Valley specifically. Hopefully, whatever I'm going to talk about in this video is helpful, not just for locals who are looking for folks, like-minded folks, just to kick football over, up to your physical limit on how many times you want to play in a week. But also we've been encountering a lot of foreigners, expats, who come to Malaysia, they love their football, they want to kick ball, but they don't know anyone. And essentially, we are all in the same boat, right? It doesn't matter what color passport you carry. So, rewinding back, I'll just share quickly about my journey in getting into social football. So I jumped into social football roughly a year and a half ago, or around thereabouts. Back then, my physical form was pretty bad. I last played football, kick football, in a game setting in 2018, if I'm not mistaken, or was it 2019, just before the pandemic. Back then, it was a niche area. It's quite hard to find groups, online groups, where strangers come along together and just play football. And then the pandemic hit everyone, and only recently, people are starting to take additional attention to their health. People realize we are not getting any younger, and I don't think I want to jump into pickleball. That's if I want to hit a ball with a bat, I'll play tennis. But football's our jam, and the fields are rare. Even if you have a field, you see a field, you want to play with people rather than just kicking the ball to a wall or just back and forth passing. So there are a number of fields around Kuala Lumpur, and social football in Kuala Lumpur typically works around artificial grass. It's good to play. I prefer personally to play a natural grass, but it's understandable. Artificial grass is easier to maintain. It's more stable, and in this weather in Kuala Lumpur, where it's rain and shine, it just happens very randomly. It's very hard to predict. Artificial grass or turf is the best way to go. So, how to get into social football in Malaysia or Kuala Lumpur? My first recommendation is, if you type social football or bola sepak in general in social media, a good way to look for it would be on Instagram. You would find a number of sessions peppered throughout the week. So my experience, so far I have been part of 3 distinct, different types of social football or social sports organizers, and I'm going to share you my pros and cons and what I thought about them and my recommendations as well. So one of the starter ones that I joined was by these great guys at Padang Bola Sepak. Even though their name is Padang Bola Sepak, which is translated to football field in English, they don't just solely focus on football. They do a lot of other sports. They do running, they do pickleball, they do, what else? They do badminton. Recently, I saw they were doing lacrosse. But I started with when they did football. Football on their side, typically they organize it in fields all around Kuala Lumpur. Sometimes even all the way to Shah Alam, borderlining Klang. It's all the way up there. Or right in the middle of the city, Dos Santos Arena, which is pretty much playing at night with the, what's the name of the tower which Florence Pugh jumped off from Thunderbolts? That's as your background. And the cool thing about Padang Bola Sepak, I think it's a good entry point for the ones who are returning to football. They are, your physically, you're not there yet. You're just still gaining your breath. Your muscles are still all atrophied and ready. You haven't kicked the ball for a long time. You don't want to jump into a session where people are, flying studs everywhere. So this is a great session. The reason I'm saying this is because the level of play, the type of players, are very much on the entry side. No shame. There's no shame joining a session where everyone else are still on a beginner or an entry-level skill. And the thing is, the reason this is like that is because it is a mixed session. So typically, in one session, you might have one or two ladies in your team. So there is a strict no tackling policy here. Everyone is basically trying not to do, not too physical. There's no body bumps. You're there to kick ball. You're there to gain your fitness. You're there just to socialize. So if you want to get into other sports, this is a good group that you want to jump into. But naturally, as footballers do, you want to push yourself. You want to push your limit up, and you want to look elsewhere after a while, right? You want to play alongside people who technically are better, so you can improve yourself. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong. If you want to stick with, a very, very light, very chilled session, I would highly recommend Padang Bola Sepak. But sometimes if you want to do something a bit more, you just want to get a proper kick along around guys without holding back, but at the same time not injuring people, there are lots of them going about. So a couple months after Padang Bola Sepak, I joined this other group. This group is called Jom Bola, translated as Let's Ball in English, right? So this is a full, all guys playing each other. And unlike Padang Bola Sepak, whose HQ is all around, they don't have a particular HQ field. They are, traveling around Kuala Lumpur, different spots, different days of the week. Jom Bola HQ, I would call it HQ, is mostly in Mont Kiara. So Mont Kiara is the more affluent side of Kuala Lumpur, and the field that they operate in is called Du Arena 163. So this arena was established and is owned by a former footballer, and it is at the top of it used to be called Montkiar MK163 if I'm not mistaken, but Sunway Group bought over it, so now it's called Sunway 163. Nonetheless, the field is there. So this field would easily cater 8v8, 9v9. It's not a full size, obviously, you can see from the video. And again, most of the field that I mentioned with Padang Bola Sepak and in Jom Bola as well is artificial grass. And the cool thing about the one at Sunway 163 is it's covered. So it's on top of the mall, it's properly covered. You have nets, fences all over. And the field can be split into two for a much closer setting. So the smaller one I think it should be able to accommodate 5v5 to 7v7 with a smaller goal, of course. And while the bigger one can properly accommodate up to maybe 10v10. 10v10 might be a bit tight, but 9v9 looks just perfect, as you can see from this video here. So it's all fun and dandy. It's good. The organizers are cool guys, and you can look for them on social media. Jombola, Jombola. Typically, you come on board, teams are not fixed. Sometimes you can just jump into any random people. Type of players, let me get back to the type of players in social football in Malaysia in general, are typically early 20s, even up to mid 40s. Sometimes I've seen other groups which are much older than that. So you can choose to join any group based on your skill level, your physical fitness, and what sort of competitive level you're looking for. But in Padang Bola Sepak, it's more towards the younger crowd, very physically fit, might not be technically, on the expert side, but it's very, very casual. So it's a good entry point. Whereas for Jombola, it's more towards mid-20s, late 20s, closer to mid-30s, and you do get college students. You get a high proportion of foreigners playing about. And the thing is, you come with whatever shirt you have. They will pass you a bib. They will divide you into teams, and you play against one another. And I should point out, certain groups have different types of how the teams are divided into. As for example, in Padang Bola Sepak and Jombola, what they do is they divided you into 3 teams typically, and it's like team A versus team B, and then team A versus team C, and then team C versus team B, and then there's a rotation again, right? So each session probably go around 1 hour and a half. So you should be able to eke about 40 minutes of total game time. But after a while playing in this, again, it's about, you want to push yourself. You want to go to, I wouldn't call it next level, but you just want to change scenery. You want to try something else. You want to play in the open, or you feel that maybe the field isn't as good as you wish it to be, which leads to the next one, which is my current social football group, which I'm playing. I've been with this since last October, late November, if I'm not mistaken. So this is called Men Ball. And these guys are based, their HQ, you can call it, is out of an international school in Kota Damansara. It's at Sri KDU, Kota Damansara. And to me, this is the best field of the 3 that I'm talking here. The reason I'm saying it is because obviously from an international school, they have they have to maintain the field, and you can really feel the stark difference between the qualities of the field. I enjoy it. It's a big field, as you can see in this video, and it is a 9v9 with a full-size goal, and you can do 11v11, but it might be a bit too cramped. And you might be wondering, where did I get all of these videos? So in the past, when I started playing with the first one, Padang Bola Sepak, I had an Insta360 Go 3 portable first-person view camera, which is attached on my chest. And then when I was at Jombola, the services of Do Arena at 163 Sunway, they had an app which actually, it records the whole gameplay. And you can download said gameplay through an app online, which that's how I get this recording. However, with Men Ball and Padang Bola Sepak, they hire photographers. And the photographers will be snapping photos of all the players, will be sent, and by the end of the session, you will receive these photos. In certain occasions, like what I'm showing you right now with Men Ball, you get full session recordings of it. So you not only get the photos, you get the full recording of the whole session. So back to Men Ball. It's a 9v9, full size, and typically in this session, before the game probably normally happens on the weekends. We are divided into 2 distinct teams, and it's typically a 40 minutes per half. So that's 40 minutes break, and then 40 minutes. Most of these sessions, if not all, have referees, either self-appointed by the organizers or a third party. The sessions may vary, but typically typical fashion, it is handled by the organizer. What else? What else? What else? Yeah, so you get the videos, the balls are provided, you just need to come with your boots. If you might be wondering what sort of boots you should be wearing, ideally you come in whatever footwear that you have that is most comfortable and not, it's not a burden to you. I typically come in with my shoe, which is in firm ground, FG, in the shoes. Um, I would recommend AG if you can find them, but since it's so hard to find artificial grass shoes in Malaysia, FG works just fine. Uh, just be very, very wary about how you move, know your body limit. Don't do super sudden turns if your body cannot handle it. Ease into it. You should be fine. Typically, in men ball's case, we would be told the day before or just before the session, a few hours before the session, you're in red team, you're in black team, these are your teammates. So everyone comes with the corresponding colors. But in other sessions, like Padang Bola Sepak or Jom Bola, they just give you bibs, and then you wear the bib according to your color throughout the session. Personally, I'd rather not wear bibs because you're already sweating your ass off with your jersey, and then you put on a bib. And then imagine there's a session before you and the bib is soaked. Obviously, they don't really reuse the bib, but the knowledge that someone had soaked the bib with their manly sweat, do you want to put it on? Not me. But that's all you. If you're okay with it, it's totally fine. I'm just being a bit nitpicky here. So the sessions are cool, and the most important bit, how much do they cost? The costs vary, and what might be acceptable to some might be too expensive or just unreasonable to some. So I'll give a rough overview on what it might cost you. So shoes and jerseys, that's aside. This is per session, yeah? And what comes with what you pay for. Typically, I'll use Jom Bola as one of the first example. I think it's 45 per session. You get around an hour and a half where you play two games against, if you're team A, you're going to play against team B and team C. So each session would be around 20 minutes before you take a break and then the teams swap. In 163, like I mentioned just now, it's the camera via the app. And yeah, this is the field that you play in. In Padang Bola Sepak, I forgot how much I paid for, but it was much cheaper, less competitive, but it's much more on a chilled setting. So again, not much commitment, more of a social experience more than anything else. I would highly recommend, if you haven't kicked a ball in years, jump with Padang Bola Sepak. If you have been playing a bit for a while and you just want to have a more closed setting, in a mall, it's easy. Once you're done playing football, you can just go to the mall, go to the supermarket, have dinner with your wife and your family. I think Jom Bola is a good session. However, my personal preference, which is what I'm playing right now, is men ball. And men balls is 35 ringgit per session. We normally get, again, an hour and a half. And it's split into roughly 40 minutes per half. So you come in, you play 40 minutes, and then you have a water break, and then you jump in again for the next 40 minutes. Why I enjoy men ball specifically is because they do have proper photographers on the side who will be snapping photos of all the players throughout the session. It's not just one or two. We get I forgot how many gigs, but you'll easily get at least 20, 30 photos of your own. Maybe not that much, probably more than 15 of you alone individually in those. On top of that, a full-sized, a broadcast-style video of both sessions, of both halves, actually. So I feel that is a better way. Personally, it provides better value. So 40 minutes of gameplay first half, 40 minutes of gameplay, roughly around that for second half, you get all the photos. Lastly, you must be wondering, what's the vibe? The vibe is pretty cool. Came across players, opponents, teammates of varying backgrounds. Some come in their bikes, just normal bikes. Some take public transport. So a dude that they drove in a Mustang, that their dude drove away with a Ferrari. So it is a very how to put it, a well distributed group, very level-headed, good guys. Doesn't matter. I'm talking across the board here. Either it's Padang Bola Sepak, Jombola, or Menbol. Really good people. Yeah, there are some oddballs. There are some folks who come in and they just forget that this is a social football setting. Studs high, studs first. I wouldn't say I got injured, but I did hurt myself when some idiot just put in studs first. I don't know whether they do it on purpose or not, but sometimes the most dangerous sort of players are those who are not aware of what they've just done. To me, that's the most dangerous type of players. And secondly, the sort who go into a social setting with the mentality of playing in an actual cup game. We don't need those. Because everyone that plays in social football are terrible. If we are any good, we would be playing at amateur level. Right? I'm not that great. You can see how bad my controls are in these videos. But I hope whatever I've spoken in the past, I lost track of the time, would be helpful. If you are keen to get into social football in Malaysia, I think there are so many options. There are so many different levels of skill, different level of social levels, social styles, demographic type of players. But in general, I would say 95% of the people who come for social football in Malaysia are awesome folks. It doesn't matter whether you're a local or whether you're a foreigner, you will find good people around you that you'll make friends with instantly. Of course, it can be competitive. You might not see people shouting for directions or asking you to run back and cover in the more casual, which is like in Padang Bola Sepak. And you'll see more tactical play. Someone might be, asking you to stay back or calm down or push for the ball when you play with men ball. There is a significant change in style of how much the players put into the game, according to the type of players that are playing. So I wouldn't say just you jump into a session and that's the session that's perfect for you. No, that's not going to be the case. But what I'm telling you is, these are the only three of the many other sessions that's available around Kuala Lumpur. There is a session that happens on Wednesday night in a field they call New Camp, and people play under floodlights, at night, which is pretty cool. I don't do that because I wear glasses and my eyesight is shit under bad lighting. There is another field which is all the way in freaking Jinjang, which they call it the White Hart Lake or something like that. The field is pretty good, suitable for 11v11. But personally, some people turn into different beasts when they see an 11v11 field. They play like psychos. So I'd rather not play in that setting. But what I'm trying to say is there are so many different types of fields, levels of play, and social interaction available to people who want to get into social football in Malaysia. So I hope this information that I share with you today are good enough, sufficient. And if you have any other questions, the comments section is down below. I will always read all the comments being put in, and I will try to reply to them as often, as frequent as possible. If you have any other suggestions, comment section is there as well. And I'll see you in the next video. Oh yeah, don't forget to like the video, really appreciate it. And subscribe to us if you haven't. Until the next video, signing off.